at the Portland Parish Court. We are extremely pleased to have you here with us this morning. As we officially commence our bail symposium, I invite you all to stand at this time for the national anthem. All right. Eternal Father, justice, truth be us forever, Jamaica land we love. Jamaica, Jamaica, Jamaica land we love. You may be seated. The theme for this symposium is Understanding Bail, Your Rights, Your Responsibilities. In fact, today marks an historic moment where we endeavor to share information with our stakeholders about their rights and responsibilities when it comes to the issue of bail. At this time, allow me to interject while I say Happy International Day of Women Judges, which is today. Women judges, we salute you. You have really enriched the judiciary, and we thank you for all that you have done. Can we just give the wonderful women of the judiciary a round of applause? Thank you. At this time, I invite our wonderful senior of this court, Her Honor Miss Jacqueline Wilcott, to formally give welcome.
I am heartened to see today members of our defense bar who are here today. Thank you very much for coming. And I welcome our students who I see in the front here too. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is heartwarming to see you all here at our Portland Parish Court Public Education Day Bail Symposium. Public education is a part of the judiciary's strategic plan, where we engage with our stakeholders and our court users to remove the mystery behind court processes and to allow a greater understanding for those who must come into contact with the court for whatever reason. Today we will see the intersection of two pillars of democracy, justice and education. Just as public education equips our citizens with knowledge and opportunity, Our justice system safeguards fairness and equality under the law. Bail, as a critical aspect of due process, embodies the balance between individual rights and public safety. This symposium is an opportunity to deepen the understanding of bail practices, explore their impact on the individual and our community, and consider how knowledge of this process can empower our citizens to engage meaningfully with the justice system. By fostering dialogue between the courts and the entities which assist to facilitate the ability to meet bail conditions, we stand here before you to strengthen trust and transparency in this judicial process. The judiciary is often described as the guardians of justice, but justice cannot thrive in isolation. It must be seen, it must be understood, and it must be trusted by the people it serves. Transparency is the bridge that connects the judiciary to the community, our community, the community of the parish of Portland, ensuring that the rule of law is not only upheld, but it is also believed. Transparency means more than open doors in a courtroom. It is about clarity in decisions, accessibility in information, and honesty in process. When judgments are explained in plain language, when bail decisions are communicated with fairness and rationale, and when the public can see that justice is applied impartially, confidence in the system grows. Transparency in our judiciary is a cornerstone of public trust in the legal system. When courts operate openly, citizens can see that justice is applied fairly, consistently, and without bias. As we proceed, let us keep in mind that justice and education share a common mission: to ensure that every person, regardless of circumstance, has a chance to thrive in a society built on fairness, dignity, and understanding. Thank you all for joining us in this important conversation. Together, we can illuminate the path towards a more informed and equitable future. So, as we talk today about bail and its processes, let us remember transparency is how we walk together across that bridge to build understanding, respect, and confidence in the Jamaican judiciary and, in particular, the Portland Parish Court. As we listen to our presenters this morning explain the different facets of the bail process, I would also invite you to walk around and talk to our stakeholders at the booths around you. One-on-one conversations with the experts, so to speak. That will deepen your understanding of this process. I welcome you all to this bail symposium. Welcome to the Portland Parish Court. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Senior, for those warm and thoughtful welcome. You have certainly set the tone for what is to come, a very engaging and informative event. And as a gentleman to my right rightly indicated, that it's prayer time, and I do agree with him. So, before we proceed any further, we must invite the presence of the Lord in our midst. And as we briefly sing, Come Into My Heart, I invite Mr. Ernie Murdoch to pray. Into my heart, into my heart, come into my heart, Lord Jesus.
Good morning, all. May you stand with me as we acknowledge and further seek the presence of our Lord and Savior. Let us pray. Eternal Father, because you have blessed our land, we say thank you. Because you have guided us with your mighty hand, we say praise the Lord. Because you have kept us free from evil powers, we magnify you. Because you have been our light through countless hours, we glorify you. Creator, sustainer, the one in whom we live and move and have our very being. We invite your divine presence among us once more. Oh God, as we have committed to and pledged the wisdom and courage of our minds, the strength and vigor of our bodies in service to our fellow citizens. We have endeavored to do so in this cause today. Dear God, as we share in this aspect of justice, we pray that we invite again from you divine true wisdom from above, so that when the presenters present, they will do so effectively, and the attendees will leave here equipped. Dear God, continue to help us to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, so that this blessed nation, Jamaica, land we love, will continue to under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity. And we give you thanks. And all the praise goes only to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murdoch, for such solid words of prayer. And we receive those blessings. So we are about to move on and we are going to go to our remarks. And at this time, Mrs. Cameron Anglin, Director, CEO of the Court Administration Division, I invite you to come.
I know I'm going to get a warmer welcome from the Portland Parishianers, as my grandmother would say. Yes, thank you very much. I traveled from very far to be here today. Yes, and so I anticipate the usual warm, cordial welcome from my Portland people. Let me greet and salute Madam Chairperson, Her Honor Mrs. Cadian Wilson Christie, Judge of the Parish Court of Portland, the Honorable Lincoln Thaxter CDJP, Custos Rotularium of Portland, His Honor Mr. Broderick Smith, Chief Judge of the Parish Courts, Her Honor Miss Jacqueline Wilcott, Senior Judge of the Parish Court of Portland, Deputy Superintendent of Police Delrose Wilson Mason, Mr. Ryan Bailey, JP or probation officer, or valued stakeholders and other specially invited guests, members of the Portland business and school communities, other members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force here today, members of staff of the Portland Parish Court, and the Court Administration Division. The persons joining us online via the Judiciary's YouTube platform, members of the media, good morning. I had to establish the protocol properly. And so it's a profound pleasure for me to be here in the beautiful parish of Portland. Today's symposium is not merely an informational session. Oh no. It is a critical bridge building exercise between the judiciary and the people that we serve. Now, as the CEO of the Court Administration Division, my mandate is to ensure that the machinery of justice functions with efficiency and transparency. Often, the concept of bail is viewed through a lens of confusion or frustration. And so many come to it very skeptical. But today, we are focusing under the theme and on the theme, understanding bail. What's the theme? Understanding bail. Your rights, your responsibilities. Let's say that together again. Yes, your rights, your responsibilities. And so today we are empowering you with the knowledge to navigate the legal system effectively. This aligns perfectly with the judiciary's vision and mission. everything that we do at the Court Administration Division and at the Portland Parish Court is anchored by the Judiciary's North Star, or vision, and or mission. Or vision, to be a world-class judiciary utilizing innovation and technology for efficient service delivery. Our mission, to provide sound, timely judgments and efficient court services in an environment where all stakeholders are valued. So you see, when you understand how bail works, when you know that it is a constitutional right subject to specific legal responsibilities, you are participating in a system that values you as a stakeholder. This symposium is a direct expression of our commitment to efficient court services that extend beyond the courtroom and into the heart of the community. Do you know that there was a time when the then resident magistrate, you know the term resident magistrate, what it means? When you hear resident, what does it mean? Person does what? Live right there. And so there was a time when the resident magistrate was required to live in the parish. And since that has gone from our parishes to a large extent, we have to bring back the courts to the community. And symposiums like these help us to do this very thing. Our strategic business plan is a roadmap for reform. Our current strategic business plan, 2024 to 2028, is built on the philosophy of strengthening our foundation to ensure sustainable justice. And a key pillar of this plan is stakeholder engagement and public education. So we recognize that a world-class judiciary cannot exist in a vacuum. It requires a public that trusts the process. And so by explaining the criteria for bail, the role of a surety, and the consequences of breaching court orders, we are operationalizing our strategic goal of increasing public trust and confidence in our court system. Furthermore, this judicial year is defined by three powerful words. You're going to learn them with me. The three words are reshape. Say reshape. The next word is reframe. Say reframe. And the final word is reform. Say reform. So we are reshaping, reframing, and reforming. We are reshaping our processes to reduce delays. We are reframing how we interact with the public, and we are reforming the administrative infrastructure to support a faster, fairer justice system. This will be a model for our nation. And right here, the Portland Parish Court has taken a leadership role today. It is my firm intent as a CEO to see this initiative replicated across every parish in Jamaica. From Savannah Lamar, you know, it's because I call it Sav, right? From Sav to Morant Bay, every Jamaican deserves to understand their rights and their responsibilities that come with bail. Bail is not a get out of jail free card. No, nor is it arbitrary punishment. No, it is a balancing act between the liberty of the individual and the safety of our society. So I want to commend the Portland Parish Court team for spearheading this symposium. To the participants, I encourage you to ask the questions, engage with our presenters, and leave here as ambassadors of a better informed public. Together, as we, and I'm going to give you the little action we have now, as we reshape, reframe, you can do it with me now, you know, reshape, reframe, and reform our system, our justice system, to ensure that we are the best that we need to be. Not just the best in the Caribbean, but as we said, the best judiciary in the world. Thank you.
Awesome. I thank you very much, Mrs. Cameron Anglin, for such insightful remarks. And you know, oftentimes we don't say thank you publicly, but Mrs. Cameron Anglin, you are steering the ship. You have assisted us with a lot of initiatives that we have had in the judiciary, and we want to say publicly thank you, ma'am. All right. All right. So, with those very insightful remarks in mind, we now turn our attention to the next item on the program, and we are getting into it. But now I call Mr. Jelani McNaughton to do the introduction of our very esteemed guest speaker who is about to come and grace us with his presence. Mr. McNaughton.
A pleasant morning to everyone. I noticed. All protocols having been duly observed. My name is Jelani McNaughton, Clerk of the Courts for the Parish of Portland, and I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker, His Honor Mr. Broderick H. Smith, Chief Judge of the Parish of Portland, of the Parish Courts, I should say, rather, acting. Now, His Honor Mr. Broderick Smith hails from the second city of Montego Bay, my parish, St. James. He's a past student of my high school, Herbert Morrison Technical High School, and the Montego Bay Community College. He is a Jamaican patriot, born to two dedicated civil servants. His Honor, Mr. Wilson Smith, retired resident magistrate of blessed memory, and Mrs. Lurleen Smith, retired assistant bursar. Judge Smith is a graduate of the University of Wolverhampton and the Norman Manley Law School, who has demonstrated his passion for service in the public sector for almost 2 decades across the length and breadth of Jamaica, serving as Clerk of the Courts, which I am as well, in Trelawney, Crown Counsel stationed in the corporate area while traversing the various parishes of Jamaica, Judge of the Parish Court in Portland and Kingston and St. Andrew, and Senior Judge of the Parish Court in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. Throughout his career, he has prosecuted and presided over a wide range of civil and criminal cases, including extradition matters. As a judge, he takes a practical and holistic approach to case management and stakeholder engagement, thereby resulting in considerable progress in case clearance rates. Through his example of dedication and fairness, he encourages internal and external stakeholders to remain committed to and accountable for the role they play in the administration of justice. His Honor, Mr. Smith, is married with one child. He is respected for his commitment to his family, strong work ethic, humility, calm confidence, interpersonal skills, analytical mind, a collaborative approach to leadership, and a genuine desire to see others fulfill their true potential, including the West Indies cricket team. His, he credits his success to his faith in God and his core values of respect, integrity, and fairness. Please help me to welcome His Honor, Mr. Broderick Smith, Acting Chief Judge for the Parish Court.
I take the opportunity to greet you warmly. As you have heard by way of introduction, this is a homecoming of sorts for me. This is the parish where I commenced my sojourn on the bench. And so I have to say, that I have benefited from the greetings from each and every person that I have seen and remembered and continue to hold dear to my heart. And I thank you very much for welcoming me so graciously. Occasions such as this are very often not readily available, where it is that as a judiciary, we get the chance to interact, mingle, and be close to those we serve. Because the judiciary carries out an incredible service to the people of our fair country. And so I embrace this opportunity just now to speak on the issue as it is, understanding bail. It says your rights, your responsibility. And that I believe is very significant. Why do I say that? It's an appreciation that it concerns us all, everyone within the hearing of my voice. I am saying it concerns us all. And so when we say your rights and your responsibility, I'm speaking to you and all the others that can hear me. So what, pray tell, perhaps, should be the aim of this symposium? I am going to advance that we want everyone to leave here with a greater appreciation of what it is by way of procedure for bail. We want to appreciate all the persons who are involved in consideration of bail. We want to increase consistency in decision making, and we want to strengthen public confidence. If it is that persons can't properly appreciate how it is that they are affected, how it is their concerns are fielded and given due regard, well, how can there be confidence? And so that is why it is, as Madam Director has indicated, CEO, about how it is that we embrace the opportunity to interact with our stakeholders. And so I applaud the organizers here, all the judges and court staff for conceptualizing and effecting and putting this in train. So we must start somewhere. And I think a useful point to start is, what is bail? I am going to proffer a definition which I hope does it justice. Bail refers to a set of conditions that are imposed, often involving a monetary payment or security, that allows an arrested person to be released from custody while awaiting trial or pending appeal. It ensures the defendant appears in court and maintains public safety. I'm getting a pat on the back. Yes, yes, yes. I thank you so kindly. So, you recognize that I ended by saying it seeks to maintain public safety. So the starting point for us is to embrace what is the legislative framework in which we operate. I believe that two of the most salient documents or legislative documents to consider would be the Constitution and the Bail Act. Why the Constitution, you ask? The Constitution speaks to certain inalienable rights, which are sacrosanct, things that we all hold dear to ourselves. The right to life, liberty, and security of the person, freedom of movement, equality before the law, and a respect for due process. So how does that factor in this discussion? There's an appreciation that I came to recognize very quickly whilst I studied at the Norman Manley Law School. It was brought home to me as I sought to decide which moot I will do, or practice a moot trial, a mock trial. And when as all students would have been given the opportunity, you got to decide whether you wanted a civil trial or a criminal trial. I chose a criminal trial because I had ambitions of becoming a prosecutor. What was significant about this and why I share this encounter with you is that I did not get to choose whether I was for the defense or the prosecution. And as fate would have it, I was chosen to be defense counsel. Certain lessons were learned then and there. I understood then in my preparation that the justice system does not depend on any one singular entity. The justice system needs all organs operating efficiently. And so, in so doing, I started to embrace what it is to be defense counsel, even though I did not have that ambition. But what became clear was that in the justice system that we embrace, everyone plays a role that is equally important for the efficient management. What else did I learn? I came across a quote, which I remember words to this effect. The suggestion that among you that hear my voice, you may proudly proclaim, I will never commit a criminal offense. But what you may not be able to say is that you will never be charged with one. And so, in that vein, we get to appreciate that as we consider equality before the law, there is an appreciation that we must understand that it could be you, a relative, a close friend, that could one day have to consider whether a court could be invited to consider whether they are a fit and proper candidate for bail. And so it is something that concerns us all. Now, of course, largely, the framework is governed by the Bail Act. And an act recently passed that repealed previous acts in 2023. But here it is that we mention what rights it is that we possess. Why is it that we cannot examine rights in isolation? It begs the question. I came across a quote from John D. Rockefeller Jr. It says, I believe that every right implies a responsibility. Every opportunity, an obligation, every possession, a duty. So, why does that quote resonate with me? It is simply because it is that I appreciate that as we contend with rights that we hold so dear to us, we must understand that concomitantly we have to face and treat with the responsibility that comes with those rights. So that is why bail matters. It protects the liberty of accused persons, it ensures court attendance, and it maintains the integrity of the justice system. Whilst we can readily say we are prepared to give up our right, what we cannot give up is our responsibility. It remains that of us. And certainly, it behoves us to embrace our responsibility because that is where lies accountability. And just the same way as I hearken to the fact that anyone can say, I will not commit an offense, you cannot equally say you will not be charged with one. And so, having known appreciation for the fact that everyone benefits from the presumption of innocence, it starts there for an entitlement to bail. But certainly, we understand that there are very few absolutes. And so, we have to contend with the fact that a deciding official, and I'm being very careful in selecting that nomenclature, a deciding official must contend with what should guide their decision. So certainly, in the appropriate situation, we have to contend with what factors should a deciding official contend with as you treat with the issue of bail. So who can be a deciding official? Well, the Bail Act guides us further to say that a police officer, which it connotes as a constable, can properly be a deciding official. And you may think that odd because the police is involved in prosecuting, laying charge. But the law understands and appreciates how that may be a situation that presents a dichotomy. So it says that if that constable is to contend with the issue of bail, especially when we treat with issues such as what we call pre-charge bail, which I believe is one of the most salient features of this bail provision, pre-charge bail, it says that it cannot be an officer that arrested or is involved in a prosecution and must be an officer of the rank of superintendent or higher. But beyond that, what we come to recognize is that as a deciding official seeks to contend with how to exercise their discretion, they cannot look at the surface. Absconding. Is there a risk of interference with witnesses? And is there a risk to public safety? And why do I coach it that way? Because a court or a deciding official may have to contend with whether an individual is likely to reoffend. And that is why it concerns us all, because we are talking about public safety. Now, of course, there are several other considerations, and I won't attempt to detail them all. And that is why I embrace the invitation to go, as senior judge of the parish court has emphasized, to go, take the opportunity to interact directly with our stakeholders so that you can have a more detailed appreciation. Because if I attempt to do so, perhaps I would bore you. Yes? And to that extent, I understand that we are invited by way of the Bail Act to look at the nature of the offense, the seriousness of the offense, the strength of the evidence, and one's criminal history. I remember once going into a store, a retail store, and seeing a sign. It said, earn a free pair of bracelets should you be caught shoplifting. So, of course, it started off on being enticing, but I'm sure many of us would not relish an opportunity for those types of bracelets. And so, here we are to contend with the considerations for bail. So, there are, as you understand it, different periods of time that the issue of bail can become relevant. As I have said before, one such instance is pre-charge. Another is post-charge. And interestingly, I must add this as well, one is also post-conviction. Why is it that I said earlier that it is significant that we can consider bail at a point where a person is not yet charged? I am sure, and I declare now that I do not believe any police officer will stand to contradict me when they say that we would not wish to rush investigations. We would not want to believe that officers, by virtue of being constrained by time, will be motivated to make a misstep. And so, what we do recognize now is that it is significant that police can appropriately consider pleading with officers to make more fulsome use of that provision. Why should we contend with doing less than our best? And so I am saying the law now gives you an opportunity to contend with consideration of bail even before considering a charge, giving you ample opportunity to do a proper investigation. Of course, the one that we are most familiar with is contending with a consideration of bail post-charged. And of course, that is significant because here it is that a person is in custody and we are inviting now, having been charged, what next? Now, as you know, we are making significant strides and efforts at the pace at which we are able to do trials. But there's no escaping the fact that even as we contend with the right to free movement, the right to liberty, it has to be balanced as against the rights of everyone else. And so, yes, there is an admission here that bail does amount to a fettering of your right to free movement and liberty. Yes, you benefit from having the right to bail unless there are justifiable reasons for not so granting. But even in the right, and we call now and speak of the defendant, there are also responsibilities. And by virtue of those responsibilities, it calls and behoves accused persons to understand that there are conditions that they must abide by. Because the grant of bail is not an end in of itself. because bail can just as easily be revoked. And so that is a contention that I wish to bring to bear. No, you remember I spoke of a person's criminal history and past? So that is also significant. So persons who have benefited from offers of bail must understand that this could have implications from any future charge. And so these are all things that can be brought into the discussion and examined by a deciding official. So you're quite accustomed to judges being deciding officials. And so, yes, the judge has a right. Your right, your responsibility. Now we are talking about another entity, judicial officers. So does the judge only have rights or does the judge also have responsibilities? You can proudly declare has responsibilities. And those responsibilities speak to why it is that we can say and hold ourselves accountable. And in that vein, what we are saying is this. As a judge, the judge cannot get up today and say, today, everybody charged with X offense, no bail. That would not be an appropriate exercise of. And what is it that we also come to understand and appreciate? Every case must be decided on its own set of unique circumstances. Yes? No case is identical to another. I wonder, pray tell, if I have enough time to share with you a scenario. Let's imagine for a time that there is a person by the name of Tom Stroke. I hope there's no Tom Strokes here. Eh? And Tom Stroke works as a particular entity. And at that entity, there is the allegation that Tom Stroke stole items from his workplace. And this was perhaps on the, let's say, the 6th of March. No report was made, investigation commenced, and the police lay hold of Tom Stroke at the airport on the 8th of March. Now, if you were the tribunal, does Tom Stroke benefit from an offer of bail? At the airport. He's held at the airport by the police 2 days after. I hear some no's, but no, I am actually very heartened by the pause in your deliberation. Now you recognize that you want to have fulsome information. And that is what I want to invite you to understand about judicial officers. Judicial officers do not get the opportunity to make snap judgments. I don't want to be disparaging about social media, but I can tell you, myself included, have benefited from some analysis by individuals who have thought less than appropriately about my judgments and decisions. But yet, I pardon them. Why? Because they did not have fulsome information. I remember as I speak to you of an instance, responsibility. It is your right, your responsibility. It is your right, your responsibility. Our rights. That's parallel. Best. So, remember the scenario I gave you? Now, some of you may have thought that he was about to take flight. But what if we gave his attorney a right, as it is, they have to be heard? And what if it that they represent to you that he was at the airport to board the flight to Europe because it was a trip that was planned some 2 months away before? No, it changes the whole dynamic. Would you agree? And that is why we have to look beyond the surface and examine the core of all these considerations before a decision can be made appropriately in that instance. So I've mentioned judges as deciding officials. I've mentioned the police as deciding officials. There's yet another category. Justices of the peace also play a very active role in being deciding officials. I pause here just to, in his absence, recognize the Honorable Mr. Justice Thaxter, who is properly oversees all justice of peace for the parish. And he, I'm sure, would echo my sentiments in saying how significant it is that we have justice of the peace who are actively assisting in allowing for decisions to be made appropriately in a timely way concerning issue of bail. So You mentioned, you heard me just now, as my tone suggests, there was some significance about timely. That's another thing that is very significant feature of the Bail Act. The time that is given to persons to make decisions. The call for reports. All of that speaks to accountability. We must understand that we do not operate in a vacuum. We must be prepared to bear open how it is that we come by our decisions and to have the public be confident about what it is that we do. And that is why an event such as this warms my heart, because we are now inviting you all to better appreciate what it is that we do. So, we understand that if a person has been arrested, we must consider that within 48 hours, 2 days, there must be a consideration of bail. And I chose my word specifically because the consideration could well be that bail is denied. But at least at that juncture, there must be a consideration. No, even so, we understand that police officers, even when they have done their very best, there are instances where there is need for further investigation. That speaks to identification. And why is identification so significant? I would like, for a show of hands, who it is that has ever been stopped on the road and you turn to inquire why they have stopped you, only to realize they did not think you were not the person they thought you were. I will raise my hand. I've had that many times. And so that is one thing that we also come to appreciate about the practice of law. All of us were exposed to the dictum that says even an honest witness can be mistaken. And so this is why we have to interrogate all the relevant considerations before we can make a decision. So, sorry to tell you, when we have these sitcoms that speak about how bail is considered and how quickly a trial is done, we are not in that dispensation. Not even AI is going to bring us there. Yes? So, yes, even in the instance that the law appreciates that there must be time given to conduct an identification parade, another timeline is given because it cannot be extended without a fetter. Otherwise, there will be no accountability. So it says that the police must conduct a identification parade within 120 hours, which I believe is 5 days. And thereafter, if there needs to be an extension, not beyond 48 hours. All of this is significant. And this is why it is that when police officers interface with witnesses, complainants, they must understand that we are operating in a framework that calls upon us to be accountable. And even after a matter is considered by the courts and bail has been granted, do you know who else still has rights and obligations? Both the defense and the prosecution, because that is not an end in of itself. The Bail Act embraces that even the judicial officer's decision can be subject to review. And again, that speaks to accountability and a responsibility for every judicial officer. So yes, there is an indication that impose conditions. Now, in instance then, for example, I will suggest that a person works in the daytime and their hours of work are very onerous. Would it be appropriate to ask that person to report every day? Certainly not. That is why there is a balancing act. It is no mistake that very often within the halls of justice you see a scale, because this is how it is that we must balance the consideration of the rights of all persons that are contending. And so it must now be an appreciation that even by witnesses that would have fear to interact, that they understand that even so we can and attempt to put in safeguards to ensure their security as well. That is what the court continues to try to do, to embrace. I am told that I'm perhaps getting close to where it is that I am boring you, and I do not wish to be accused of so doing. And so, what I want to impress upon you, the laws are available. And it is for you also to read and to demand explanations. The court staff, I am going to boldly declare, stands ready to advise you about all the considerations that the court will wish to contend with. But what I want to emphasize, as the theme suggests, that with those rights come responsibilities for every single party that is part of the process. And I want you to embrace your part and play it appropriately. I so thank you.
It is indeed an honor to have such a distinguished guest to address us here today. We can all agree that this presentation, it was very engaging, it was informative. And what I really appreciate is that someone that has been here, the foundation, has come today to impress on us what is it that we should do, our rights, our responsibilities when it comes to the issue of bail. I thank you so much. I thank you, Your Honor. At this time, we'll now move into the actual process now in the court. How is it that we facilitate that process in the court? A more practical aspect. And we at the Portland Parish Court, we pride ourselves in serving our customers. And we do believe that knowledge is indeed power. So now I ask our most senior clerk of court, Miss Andrique Manahan, to come and to give us a presentation on the process of bail in the court. You can just fix this for me.
Good morning, everyone. All protocols observed. My name is Andrique Manahan, and I am a clerk of court here at Portland Parish Court. I was just giving instructions so that what is behind me doesn't fall, because I'm not so tall like Justice Broderick. I was given the mantle to speak as it relates to the bail process at the Portland Parish Court. Um, Being assigned this, I believe it was a hard task for me. I am following after Justice Project, and I hope that I would have given you information piggyback on the what was given by Ms. Cameron Anglin. Hopefully, I can reshape, reform, as well as reframe. I will commence now. I will commence now. I will pick up after Justice Broderick, where he speaks to what the deciding officials has to contend with and where they will make their decision. So I commence after bail is granted. Thank you. We'll often hear the judges say bail is granted in a song. I'm okay, thank you. Normally we'd hear judges say bail is offered in a sum with 1 to 2 sureties or up to 2 to 4 sureties. And no persons may be asking themselves, what do we mean? So when you come down by the court office, if bail is offered with 2 to 4 sureties, that means we'll take the minimum of 2 persons that can bail the person. If it is that you wish to use all 4 persons, then that is accepted by the court's office. When you come to the court office, we will give you 3 forms, Form 2 and a declaration. The Form 2, one is filled out by a Justice of the Peace or a Minister of Religion or a principal of any educational institution. The Justice of the Peace, when the Form 2 is completed by the Justice of the Peace, it must be done in your presence and they must affix their seal to the form. The other form is filled out by a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, that being the rank of a sergeant or above. The declaration is filled out by you, the surety, and we ask that the surety complete all the questions that are asked by you. It is also imperative to note that the clerk or anyone at the front desk processing the bail may ask the surety questions about the accused just for the completion of the process. So the surety is really just a fit and proper person in the eyes of those are those within the judiciary. As it relates to the requirements that are needed, you will need a valid identification, whether it is your driver's license, passport, or a national identification. Where it is that you have completed the forms, you should bring to the court's office to surety who is processing the bail for the accused, and the photographs must be signed by the JP. So we will not entertain photographs that are not signed or affixed by the seal from the JP's office. Now we're looking at what we can use to process the bails. Oftentimes persons come with car titles, where it is that the car title has two owners. It is the requirement of the Portland Parish Court that the co-owner must send a signed document which was done in the presence and view of a justice of the peace, indicating his or her permission to have that car that is being placed before as the so it stands as the what is used as a collateral for the bail, then it must be submitted with all other vehicle documents. As it relates to title, we're talking about houses. When you have a title and the valuation, for example, hasn't been done from 1990, I know we can assume that there's no house that is valued at 500,000 or 100,000 to date. However, that assumption will not rest at the Portland Parish Court. We would need a valuation to be done so that it can reflect the sum that you would like to bail the person in. So we're not trying to be difficult at the front desk. We're just trying to be on the safe path. We can't assume when it comes to bail. And as it relates to car titles as well, please ensure that you have your valuation, the fitness, registration for the motor vehicle. Please ensure that the co-owner gives you a document that is, let's say, a letter telling you that they're giving you permission to use that vehicle documents, then you will not be able to process the bail, unfortunately. I will move on to where there is a condition as it relates to bail, where we would often hear stop order, travel, where surrendering of travel documents at all ports and ports of entry and exit. Now, what the stop order does for the parish court level is that you would have to bring in the documents for the accused person, that being a birth certificate or a valid passport. That information is then passed to PICA through the court's office, and the court's office will receive a confirmation letter from PICA via email. We will then contact you to inform you that the stop order is in place and that we will continue further processing the bail. I know sometimes the stop order will take a time, but we are really trying our best to speed up the process. Where it is that you have a birth certificate, that the name birth certificate reflects the accused person that you are bailing. If there are any issues with the birth certificate, the court will contact you. If credit union, they're here. What happens? You would go to the bank and indicate to them that you are in the process of bailing someone, tell them what it is for their name and the amount. That financial institution will then address a letter to the Portland Parish Court, specifically to the clerk of court, indicating that the person has come to their institution and they're willing to bring back to the cooperative credit union. Thereafter, you will then come back to the court's office and then we will continue to process the bail. If you have cash, we do take cash. and that is done first. That payment is done at the accounting department, so that after the receipt has been given, then we will continue to process the bail. The completion of the process. So when all your relevant documents have been processed, we will then call detention on courts to have the person been brought, that being the accused person, to our front desk to complete the process. I really hope that as of today, we are able to meet at a middle ground in terms of the processes that we'll have at the bail. What did you say? Just give us a minute. Let's get a mic.
Sorry. Yes, ma'am. I was just
Yes.
asking, when you refer to the cash bail, does that mean that the person after the trial they don't get the money back?
So, you're speaking as to the refund of
Refund
bail.
of the cash.
Yes. So, we I will leave that to our honorable guest that will come to speak with the bail refund, and I know she's smiling because
Okay.
she will then speak to you as it relates to what is required for the bail refund and what will occur as relates to bail refund and what it is.
Okay.
So if you can wait just shortly, she will graciously greet you with the answer for that question.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Well, I thought I had the hardest part, but I don't think so. That's as it comes to the conclusion of my presentation. I'm not sure if there's any other questions as relates to the process of bail. I was hoping shaped in terms of the requirements of bail. Just to conclude, just to remind everyone that all the methods of bail, these are what are required. Your ID or driver's license, two passport size pictures signed and stamped by a justice of the peace, and a form to be filled out by a surety in the presence of a justice of the peace, a form to be filled out by the justice of the peace in your presence, as well as a form to be filled out by a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force above the rank, a rank above this rank of sergeant or above. As it relates to bail, where you are bailed in your own surety, the valid ID, so ID or driver's license is recommended. There's a hand at the back. My name. Okay. So she's asking if a person can bail themselves. So when we are in court and the deciding official or judge will say to the accused person, you're bailed within your own surety. So that is where bailing yourself comes into play. So it is not something that is it's decided by the accused person of the factors that are placed before the court, and the deciding official would have chosen to bail within your own surety. So that's the consideration as to a person bailing themselves. So you can bail yourself once you are given the condition to be bailed with your own surety. Understood? Okay. Any other question that may flow from the process of bail? Sergeant Green, are you? Yeah, very good. I. So the question that was posed is, if you bail yourself and you do not show up for court, what will then happen? It is imperative to note that once you are given bail or offered bail, as Justice Broderick would have stated, you must ensure that you make yourself present at each and every occasion that the court has scheduled your matter for. Where you have where you did not show up for court, then that is where we will decide to revoke your bail. And that is where your liberty does not come into play. So ensure sureties, it is a very hard job, and I know sometimes we would like to assist our peers, but ensure that the person that you are being standing in as a surety for, that you ensure that you are coming to court with those persons and you understand what it means to be a surety. Ensure you know where the person is at all points. Ensure that they are mm, ensure that they are applying to the conditions of their bail, reporting to the police station if there's a curfew in place, ensure that they are inside before the time that is submitted by the court. So so if the person does not, the question is, if Tom Strokes doesn't come to court when he was offered bail, then his bail is revoked. There's something that the judge will say, bond the street, and that's where the surety will then, a warrant will go out for you, and you will then pay that sum. So you forego that payment that you would have paid in the court. So please ensure that when you bail someone in and you're standing as a surety, that you ensure that you know where they are at all point. I know some people might be questioning if you would have standing as a surety and for a reason or two, you do not want to continue the process of standing as a surety, you will make an application to the court and you come before the court on the date in question and indicate to the court that your unwillingness to to continue the process of a surety. And it's not just, oh, me no bother want be no surety again, judge, because me no want come to court every day. That is not a reason or a good enough reason to discontinue yourself from being a surety. So ensure that you know what you are doing when you take up the role of being a surety. Hold on, get them.
Yeah. Okay, you build somebody in Port Antonio.
Yes.
Then you say you can't stay in Port Antonio, you gotta stay in Fair Hill. And you bail him. So how do you keep track of that individual?
Okay, so there's a condition that, for instance, his example is a person is not allowed to be in Port Antonio. You must ensure again that you are in communication with the person that you're standing in as surety for. So where that person has fallen short, then it falls on you. As Justice Badrick would have said, we all have a responsibility. And as a surety, it is your responsibility to ensure that you know where your accused person is at all points. Yes.
So if I could just assist as well. Um, if it is at a stage that a surety becomes uncomfortable in continuing to be a surety, it the Bail Act governs such a situation and affords the surety an opportunity to apply to the court to be released from that obligation of being surety. There's a reason it is that we very often will embrace a surety who is familiar with the person, because that is the type of person who can sufficiently convince the person who is the subject of bail to continue to abide by the conditions. So there are even instances where the court can circumvent what we call the nuance of assessing whether a person has enough assets. So, for example, you will get a situation where a mother, for example, accompanies her adult son to court and says, I am telling you, judge, I can ensure that he comes to court in the appropriate situations. We can accept the mother as surety because we know that Jamaican men listen to their mothers. And so that is part and parcel of what is our judicial craft that will allow us to say this is an apt situation to allow mother to be accepted as surety. But certainly, if he frustrates his mother and his mother is no longer willing to be surety, the mother can apply to be released from that obligation.
As it relates to any other question, we'll take them at the end. And you can also visit the Portland Parish Court booth and we will be of assistance. In conclusion, I really hope that we have reshaped your mind and thoughts and answered the unanswered questions as it comes to the process of bail at the Portland Parish Court. It is hoped that at the end of the presentation, we have reframed the interaction with our stakeholders and that our reformation is one that upholds the core values of the Judiciary of Jamaica, specific target to the Portland Parish Court. Thank you.
I thank you, our able clerk of court, for such very clear and comprehensive presentation. Thank you. Well done, Miss Manahan. But what I'll add to that as well is that the accused persons who are on bail, they need to recognize as well that your bail expire at 10 o'clock. You ought not to be coming in court after 10. Can I say that again? 10 o'clock. I think the first time was good enough, right? So, it is often said that all work with no play makes Jack a dull boy. So, since we are now keeping a balance and we are leveling the playing field, it's now for some entertainment. Yes? I think we have done enough in terms of enlightening you about the bail process and the practical approach. And we now invite Mr. Ryan Bailey with an item. So we welcome him.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will be presenting a national award winning piece, a dub poem entitled In My Head. Yes, in my head. 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 Me can't sleep, me can't eat. She just in my head. I coulda was up. Make she just in my head. In my head, in my head, in my head, in my head. Me can't sleep, me can't eat. She just in my head. I coulda was up. Make she just in my head. I met this girl around 3 years ago. She tell me, say she love me and me love her too. But is it really love or just love too? We walk the park, we walk the streets, we share fun too. But me can't stay focused on the job now too. So me, I wonder what is wrong if I so love must stress me too. Me we are just friends. We never do nothing but the love just a bubble up like butter cook. Me said the love just a bubble up like butter cook. Cause in on my head, in on my head, in on my head, girl, in on my head. Me can't sleep, me can't eat. She just in on my head. I coulda was so. Make she just in on my head. If love so powerful. Why me head da hurt like me have a broken foot? Me nah make no girl come stress me out, you know. Me a go take the advice from Munga and the rebel. Oh me, me nah mad. Me nah mad over no girl, coulda pretty like Dolly. Me nah mad over no girl, coulda have enough money. Me nah mad over no girl. Me a go talk to me counselor, you know. Because me traumatized by this love vid up be so me say me traumatized by this love vid up be so me say me traumatized by this love vid up be so in on my head, in on my head, in on my head, the girl in on my head. Me can't sleep, me can't eat. She just in on my head. I coulda was up. Make she just in on my head. In on my head, 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 the girl in on my head. Me can't sleep, me can't eat. She just in on my head. I coulda was up. We've been together for a while now. We're growing stronger every day now. It feels so good, and there is no doubt I will stay with you. For I will stay with you through the ups and the downs. Yes, I will stay with you when no one else is around. And when the dark clouds arise, I will stay by your side. I know we'll be all right. I will stay with you because my head, my head, the girl, my head, me can't sleep, me can't eat, she just, my head, I coulda was her, make she just, my head, my head, my head, that's it.
Speechless. And for sure that now come out of few head. Thank you very much for such energetic performance. It was very creative. Thank you very much, Mr. Bailey. I'm sure we weren't expecting that, none at all. Not true? Ah. All right, thank you. So we have lightened up a bit and we have been enlightened. So now we will continue with another aspect of our presentation. And as alluded to by our guest speaker, there are other deciding officials that are engaged in this process, and those of the police officer. This is indeed a crucial area, and it's one that must be understood because for most of the time, the accused person's first point of engagement is with the police officer. Yes? And at that point, a determination is often made whether or not bail should be granted. So at this time, I invite similar namesake to myself, DSP, Mrs. Delrose Wilson Mason. I invite you, ma'am.
Good morning. All right, permit me to adopt the protocols that have already been established. And as Judge Wilson Christie says, Delrose Wilson Mason. Judge Smith would have spoken to giving you a deck for bail. What this is at bail, he spoke to who is authorized bail, and the police is one of those persons that authorize bail. All right, for the police, we normally there are points to be considered before granting bail, which is the seriousness of the charge and the nature of the evidence in support of it. And the seriousness of the charge will tell you, determine whether or not we can grant bail. The severity of the punishment that the accused can be given if convicted, the likelihood of the accused committing further crimes, the likelihood that the accused may interfere with the witness or the as also whether or not the accused can find suitable surety. All right, points to be considered before granting bail continues for minor cases. There are cases where we can grant bail with or without sureties. For more serious offenses where it is decided to grant bail, the sum must be sufficient that the accused is charged with can substantiate for the charge. I'm going to look at when the police decides to grant bail, who may be accepted as surety. Firstly, the surety must be over 21 years, should be of good character, should be able to prove that he or she has the ability to pay the agreed sum. And in the case where we are looking at good character, this is where, as Judge Smith says, or justices of the peace is very integral, as these are the persons who should be able to speak to the character of the person. when bail is granted, the justice of the peace that speaks to the character in terms of a letter to the police is to come from the community that the accused person, not necessarily accused, but the surety comes from, to ensure that we are sending these persons out with persons who are of good character and will ensure that the persons are appear in court on the date, place, and time that is given. Whenever the short bail is offered, I don't think you can see, there are two forms from the court, from the police. There's a notice of recognizance for 4 and a petty session form, bail form. If you are bailed in your own surety, then you will get one form, a notice of recognizance. So 2 of these are filled out and 1 of the 15. And the accused person is given 1 of the forms to keep. If the person is offered bail with a surety, then we do 3 of these forms. The surety gets 1, the accused person gets 1, and this is to remind them of the date they are for court, where they are for court, and the time of court. As clerk of court, Ms. Manahan says, and they spoke before, if it is that you are granted bail and you do not turn up, then it is at this court to offer to issue a warrant. If you can, without permission of not presenting, there are cases where persons can present sick leave, and the person has to come with the actual sick leave to say that the person is unwell. And in that case, the judge can order a warrant and stay the execution for another date. And you need to ensure that you come to court for those days. As it relates to the surety, we normally ask for a utility bill in the name of the surety. And this normally assists us with the verification of the address. The bill should not be more than 6 months. And if the person, for example, a lot of this happens in Jamaica, live in rented property, or property that the utility is in somebody else's name. This is where the justice also assists in speaking to where the person or persons live. So I'll allow these to be passed around if you want to look at them. But this is what, for the bail, we normally ensure that as per this court bail, that the station is provided with an identification for the surety to ensure that we're getting the correct names of the sureties. There are a lot of cases where persons come forward without the proper identification. And if we allow that to happen, then you might find that those persons might not turn up for court and are unable to carry out the due process. All right. The Bail Act of 2023 speaks to given for up to 6 months. And prior to the 6 months, if the police realizes that he or she will not get the evidence or the document that is required, they can apply to the court for additional time, and bear in mind that this additional time may not be given. The superintendent also has the authority to add conditions to the bail, and the conditions may have to do with persons reporting to stations and the days and dates. It has the accused person also has the authority to ask for the matter to be reviewed, and as Madam Clerk of Court said, we cannot expect somebody who's working 9 to 5 somewhere, especially outside of the space, to report every day at a station, so the person can contend the situation. And as per all the other dictates that was said, it is, and bail is to ensure that the person appear before the court at the date and time as specified. So that's from me. There are any questions?
I thank you, DSP, Your presentation was quite useful, and I know it will assist in going forward. Thank you. At this time, we'll have another item, and this item will be coming from the Port Antonia High School, so we welcome them.
When it comes to 18-year-old Kevin Luther, you are not the father. My heart thumping, blood pressure pumping. What I mean, I'm not the father, judge, it's a joke thing. My heart pumping, blood pressure rise. Me no grab what I put on my eye. My name is son Kevin Mark Anthony Luther. Me hold it in my hand from me born as a junior. Have a birthmark. I'm a cool ear. Now the news they give me judge after 18 years. Me heart thumping, blood pressure pumping. What you mean I'm not the father judge? This is a joke thing. My heart pumping, blood pressure rise. Big man, the girl. What does the bottom of my eyes? Me a pay child support from her idea knee. And in a 2025, DNA say I know for me. Me heart thumping, blood pressure pumping. What you mean I'm not the father judge? Is this a joke thing? My heart thumping, blood pressure rise. Big man no cry, but want to come out of me. We no break with God, yeah, cause Charlie too wicked. The five in the boy just to find out thing wicked. Jano, this rip out me heart. Stay strong, you can't leave that by law. Lock them up, cruff them up. Ah, the woman cheated. Then just a give me a jacket. If it don't woman Peter, why you do it? Why you tell me I'm a son? You tell me say I'm my daughter. So me none you really give me bun. Bun, bun, bun. Me thumping, blood pressure pumping. What a minute, not father judges is a joke thing. My heart pumping, blood pressure rise. Well, man, no cry, but you me eyes. Paternity, paternity, what this a paternity, paternity, what this a paternity, paternity, what. My rights, my responsibilities. Understanding bail is a critical one, you see. My rights, my responsibilities. Understanding bail is a critical one, you see. Innocent until proven guilty. My constitution tell me say me have the liberty to come or go. Once my bail money paid, them must inform me of any court date. Responsibility that I might want to turn up a court when the time it due. Report to the station giving travel documents. Once me depend bail, me can't commit no more offense. My rights, my responsibilities. Understanding bail is a critical one, you see. My rights, my responsibilities. Understanding bail is a critical one, you see.
All right. right. Thank you so much. Can we give them another round of applause? I thank you very much, Port Antonio. Hi. And especially the last song. I think you sum it up quite nicely in terms of the theme, your rights, your responsibilities. However, I warn you in respect, we know what is happening in Jamaica and it's real life issue. Yes? Yes, but we don't incite violence, right? There's a way to treat with it. All right. But I thank you. Two wonderful pieces. So as we go along now, and we are almost there, one of the uh, attendees, he was asking about this aspect here in terms of refund and cash bail. Now we are at that point where we invite Miss Dorothy Smith to come and speak on this very important and major aspect here. Miss Dorothy Smith, she is from the Court Administration Division and she is the Director of Court Accounting. We welcome you, ma'am.
I'm on ya. I not leave ya. Sweet Jamaica. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They get into the rhythm of things. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So I'm an I girl Banya, Portlander by birth. So I'm here representing, and it's indeed a great privilege this morning. So I can welcome all the migrants in our midst. All right. So I'm going to share with you this morning what exactly happened for your bail refund when it is that you apply for your bail refund. All right. So your bail refund application are sent to us at the Court Administration Division in Kingston. That's where it is processed, right? Um, this is the application that you would have completed once the case is disposed of. So the case must be disposed of before you're considered worthy of that refund. All right. What you would have done, any pointer? What you would have done is complete the upper part and where you see for official. All right, let they just bring it up for me. So we start out with the bail refund, two conditions. Once the bail is disposed of, once the case is disposed of, or the surety wants to be released of that responsibility. So it's under those two conditions that you would be refunded. So you complete the upper part, Mr. Brown. All right, and you must sign. The surety must sign. You must sign. Sometimes the delay in payment, is because of little things like bail verification. We'll get to that later. I mean, account verification and all of that. But do go through the form thoroughly. If you don't understand, there are persons in the information area that would assist you here at the Portland Parish Court, right? So please ensure that you understand what you're signing to. You need what you need in order to be a surety. You need to have a TRN, right? Because we're TRN driven. Your payment is after it is processed at the CAD, it goes to your account via the Accountant General's department. And as such, you need to have a commercial bank account. No building society nor credit union. Commercial bank account. All right. So you need to have a valid government of Jamaica identification. So it can either, if you can, you just hold your questions and know, as somebody alluded to earlier, this session is probably one of those. But spare me. Remember, I'm Banya. You hear? All right. So for the application, where was I? So you need, this is the, you need, for you to apply, you need to have a TRN, a valid TRN. Some of you get provisional TRN where you'd get a slip of paper. It expires 6 months, right? So you, when it comes to us, it would have already gone through the database. So you need to go to the TRC office, stage A, to ensure that your TRN is valid. All right? You need your TRN, you need a valid identification, you need a commercial bank account, right? So that's what you need to become a surety, to stand as surety. What some of the things that can delay your application is that some of us ladies, we tend to change our names, right? I don't change mine yet. I'm still happy. So you tend to change your name and then you go ahead and then you fill out all the proper channel and whatever, and you leave out that very important part to update your documents with the new name. So you would have come to the court and the court really must take your ID. So whatever is on the ID is what they're going to be writing. So if it's Mary Jane, it's Mary Jane. But let's say you got married and you come to the court and you present an ID and you have Mary Jane Smith, right? You have the Mary Jane Smith, but you have not gone to the TRC office. Maybe your ID is saying Mary Jane Smith. Mary is the electoral ID, right? They tend to use that. And it says Mary Jane Smith, but you have not gone to the TRC office. So when it comes to us now, when we plug in that TRN, the TRN database still have you as Mary Jane. It's not updated with the Smith. So we can't process that bail application. It cannot be processed because we're seeing two different persons, right? And we can't go ahead until we're sure. So you either bring your marriage certificate to the court, right? Or you go to the TRC office to get that information updated. When you come, you must ensure to the best that you can all the documents are in place, right? So I speak to the change of name, the signatures. You must sign. You can't have somebody else signing your bail refund application. If you give power of attorney to the person, then a notarized public has to sign off on that power of attorney. So let's say you're abroad, right? And the case has been disposed of, and you need now to apply for the application. And you have somebody out here, you don't have any interest further. You grant a power of attorney signed by a notarized public abroad to say, I'm giving over this money or the transaction to John Brown to continue. So John Brown will now apply, bring in his particulars, his ID and all of that, and the original notarized letter to say you have given power of attorney to him. All right. Now, we have the banking information form. So for the bank, you would have seen the bail refund application form, the banking information form for bail now. This document is very important. You have to ensure that every T is crossed because this money is going into your bank account. You can't make a mistake with the bank, the digits, especially with BNS, because what BNS does, BNS recycles its account. So you can have an account 461 here in Portland and you have another 461 in Westmoreland. But what tells the difference is the transit number. So you need to include all of that in completing the banking information form there, right? And you need all 9 digits because BNS has closed down some of its branches. So they would have sent out to you whether to add 00 or 01, whichever the case may be, right? In front of the existing account number. All right. This form, it has a disclaimer. You must sign the disclaimer. You must read the disclaimer and sign it. And the form must be printed on one sheet. So the back and the front on one sheet. All right. Don't print separate sheet, my colleagues there. Do not print separate because it tend to pull apart. And we have had cases like that where it is stapled and pull apart, and you can't find the other side of it. So ensure that you read it, or if you have a disability there, then the court will assist you and explain to you what it is that you're signing against. Now, if you don't have a commercial bank account and you have a trusted relative or friend, you can, Mr. Brown, just assist me a bit, go the space provided where the surety would have completed the upper part. You see, surety's information, you still must complete that part of it. And surety's banking information is where you would have put the banking information for that trusted friend or relative. But you must also come to the court, and the court will have both of you sign off on an agreement. It doesn't have to be any fancy thing. Just to say that I, Dorothy Smith, give permission to Anne Marie Cummings, who is my supervisor. She's in the house and is grading me. and Anne Marie Cummings for for um for that money to be lodged in the account for that purpose. And it must be specific to the task, all right, at hand. So you have to be very careful with these. All right. We have three payment options. You can you can pay your bail refund. You can pay using cash, as was mentioned earlier, that is over the counter to the cashier here. You can do it via direct bank transfer where the money is moved from your account to the bail savings account, or you can use our point of sale option where you would have used your credit or debit card to pay for that bail. However the payment is made, you will get back the money in your account. All right. What if the surety dies? If the surety dies, then the death certificate and all of that, if they have, I think, first check with the administrator general if there's an estate there, right? And they will direct us how to pay out the money. If the surety dies, then it depends. You might have to get a lawyer. You might need to get a lawyer and then to claim back for that money. I've seen cases of the sort. All right. So I mentioned to you about release of surety. The form 4 is what you would have completed. That's the application for release of surety. So you have the form here where you come. Suppose you no longer trust the accused. You still like him gonna run off, eh? And you still like him gonna give you trouble. And you might just get locked up as stated by the officer earlier. And so you would have completed release of surety, that application, and the judge must um will approve, or the judge might approve. I don't know of any that was turned down. It can be turned down, judge. May. All right, but this is the form that the judge would have given approval. So those two forms must come with the bail refund application to us. Remember, I stated earlier, two conditions: disposal and release. So this is the release part of it. All right. So I get back to the verification. Suppose you're online. If you are online and you can copy the snippet, the header. This is our bail account. So your name, John Brown, is there. The account particulars, the account number, and all of that transit number is there. So you just snip that upper, the header, and use it as the verification, because some people don't have passbook like me. I am way back. So me, I have my little passbook still. All right. If you have your passbook, you copy the front part of it, or if you have the banking card with the account number and your name on it, then you can bring it to the court and then they will copy it. Whatever you put on the banking information form is what we're going to use. All right, so you need to be careful with that. So that's about it for me. Any questions? I saw some hands earlier. I'll take those. Yes, sir. All right. The if somebody is abroad, let's say the person stood surety and has migrated, the person, that surety now needs to get a notarized public sign giving authority to the person here. So the person here now would have full authority to come and claim on behalf. And what can happen too, we would have sent on the information. The applications are on our intranet, right? So they can access it, complete the banking information if they don't wish to do the notarized. But once they give you power of attorney, then you are the person who would turn up to the court here to make the application. So if the person abroad gives you power of attorney, then you are the person now, would be the proxy for that person. So you would turn up here. But and then there's another case where the application and the particulars could be sent to the person abroad, or they go on our internet, and the notarized public need to endorse that as well. Any other question? That's it. Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Dorothy Smith. You can see when there's not much question, it can be one of two things: that you were extremely clear, yes, in your delivery. So thank you for your detailed approach. Thank you for your presentation. At this time, it is often said by a British writer that no duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. With that said, I now invite Ms. Taye Jones to give our vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. I deemed it a great privilege to be given the vote of thanks. At this bail symposium, understanding the team, under the team, to our distinguished guest, His Honor, Mr. Broderick Smith, our Chief Parish Court Judge acting, for gracing us with your presence and sharing your wealth of knowledge today. Key point taken from your speech is bail. What is bail? He indicated bail refers to a set of conditions that are imposed often involving a monetary payment or security that allows an arrested person to be released from custody. That is important. It was indeed a pleasure having you here, sir. To the team from the Court Administration Division, led by Mrs. Trisha Cameron Hanglin, CEO, and Mrs. Jarrett Fletcher and her team, thank you for your unwavering support to make this symposium a success. Mrs. Anne-Marie Cummins, Principal Finance Officer, was indeed a pleasure having you here, Madam. Miss Dorothy Smith, Director of Court Accounting, who took us through the process of cash bail refund. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing this process with us. We thank Deputy Superintendent of Police, Mrs. Delrose Wilson Mason. You shared with us the process of handling bail whilst at the station. This information was very informative and educational. We thank Ms. Angelique Manahan, our clerk of the court, who explained the process of bail in court and what needs to be done once bail is granted by the court. To the performers who kept us entertained, Portland is talented. Mr. Bailey with his JCDC winning talent piece, Ina Me Ed. And the students at the Port Antonio High School, thank you for coming this morning. I know we all enjoy your performance today. Special thanks to the team of the Portland Parish Court, led by Senior Parish Court Judge, Her Honor, Miss Jacqueline Wilcott, and Master of Ceremony, Her Honor, Mrs. Cadian Wilson Christie. Mr. Henry Murdoch, giving glory to the Almighty God, making today a resounding success, and to the Court Operations Manager, Miss Carmen Campbell, and the staff of the Portland Parish Court for their commitment to the process and all behind the scene work that went into making today a success. To the stakeholders, which include PICA, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Restorative Justice Branch, Department of Correctional Service, the Probation Aftercare Branch, Dispute Resolution Center, Victim Services Branch, the Child Care and Family Service Agency, the Transport Authority. Thanks for taking the time out to be a part of this process and support the court. Thank you. And to all attendees, your interest of understanding bail and its implication is commendable. We are grateful for your presence. Thank you for being a part of this initiative. We look forward to seeing you at our next Public Education Day event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Jones. And I will say, oftentimes we don't give ourselves thanks, But I will say personally, thanks to the Bail Symposium Committee from the Portland Parish Court, spearheaded by myself, and I must say that they have been a tower of strength. They have worked tirelessly, and I want to say publicly thank you very much. Despite all the work obligations that you had, you still made time to make today a success. Thank you very much. I will at this time invite Miss Tiana Strawn. This is a little segment of appreciation, presentation of appreciation. Miss Strawn, I invite you now.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. I would like to ask His Honor Mr. Broderick Smith to join me up here. On behalf of the Portland Parish Court, we extend a hearty thank you for expounding on bail, our rights, and our responsibilities with us today. And with that, we hereby present to you this token of our appreciation. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. I also have some certificates for our participants. On behalf of the Portland Parish Court, we would like to extend a thank you with this certificate in recognition of your participants within today's program. I will call the recipients. Miss Dorothy Smith, Port Antonio High School, Mrs. Tricia Cameron Anglin. Sorry. Tricia. M- Mr. Ryan Bailey. He's coming. Mrs. Delrose Wilson Mason. That is all from me today. Thank you.
So, as we now officially bring our bail symposium to a close, I want to sincerely thank all persons that were present or are present here today. It has been a rather enlightening and eventful day. I hope that you have learned some things, that some things have really resonated with you, and that the bail process, what bail is, what it's about, is clearer or has become clear. I thank you for making this Bail Symposium a success. Well, I declare it a success. And I wish you all the best, and I wish you journeying mercies for those of you that are going far. And as stated before, feel free to go around the booths to engage with the various representatives. And remember, knowledge is power. I wish you all a good day.
Yes.
Can we get some music to exit?